Somebody tell me why it's sawmill gravy. It's not something I feel like I ever want to eat. In deference to the fact that it is 100 degrees outside for the foreseeable future, I'm not setting foot out there unless I have to. So, we do have plenty of projects to handle inside the house. And while I should be doing something about the kitchen, I am not mentally prepared for it. We're gonna do some procrastinating with this other thing that I want to do. I have this serpentine dresser that I got years ago for free. It was kind of rough, right? The drawers didn't really work. It needed a little bit of help there. It was really, really dry. And what I ended up doing, because the wood was a beautiful color, you know, it's a nice deep brown, good variation. It's pretty good, but it was missing a couple handles, so I made some new ones out of scrap leather I had, and I didn't want to paint it at the time because the wood is so pretty. So I used paste wax all over it to help like add a little bit of a sheen and add a little moisture to that wood. But now it's been like 10 years, and maybe not 10, but it's been a while. I actually don't really use it. It's kind of shoved into my closet, but it holds clothes. It does its job. And I think it might be used more if it was prettier. It needs new handles, and I think it needs a coat of paint. I know all you purists out there are gonna be like, no, don't touch it. I get it. Look, I lived with this thing for many years, unpainted. And I would agree with you, except that 2 of these 5 drawers have chipped veneer. Here's one. I've already put filler in it, so. And here's the other. A great big strip. And I don't know how to fix that. I don't know how to take the veneer off and replace it. I don't know if you would even be able to, because it's old. And I don't want to replace the veneer on all of them just for continuity. So I'm gonna paint them. I will not be painting the rest of the dresser though. That's in perfectly fine shape. You know, it's got some dings and stuff here, but it's wood. It's solid, so it does not need it. And I think the contrast between this paint and the dark wood would be pretty nice. I've seen the inverse done. I've seen where people have painted the body of the dresser and left the drawers bare, which is nice. Not really helpful in this case. I'm hoping this looks as good. So since I used paste wax on it, I don't know how well paint will adhere. I did read from a couple of websites that said you can use chalk paint directly over this wax and it won't flake or anything. I don't have any experience with chalk paint, but I don't think that sanding would do a whole lot, just because that wax penetrates. So I don't want to take the chance. I don't want to have to spend a lot of time sanding it down, using a primer, and then painting it for that to be, you know, all for nothing. I'm going to try the chalk paint out, and this will be a fun new experience. I will sand down gently, just to kind of like rough it up a bit, but the color I've chosen is Dixie Belle Sawmill Gravy. I only got a little container of it though because I figured it's just drawer fronts, so hopefully that'll be enough. I do have handles coming. Hopefully they'll be here tomorrow and we can, you know, continue this on. So my handles came in. They feel extremely cheap, but they'll do the job. And I mean, if I find actual antique handles at some point in the future, I can just switch them out. These were pretty cheap. I got a 10 pack for like $15, I think. And they're not bad, you know? For aesthetics, they'll work. And I think they kind of match what's already here. I think it's brass, probably. This is clearly, this is not. If it really bothers me later on, I can get some rub and buff. So I'm not too worried about it. What I am worried about is if I have to drill another hole, which I think I will. So close, but not quite. So, I kind of knew that was going to happen. From what I measured, I knew that I wasn't going to find anything exact. I'm just going to fill all these holes with wood filler, let it dry, and then sand everything down. And then I'll have to vacuum because there is massive amounts of dog hair. This is where Riza's bed usually is, so she's a husky. But I'll vacuum to get rid of all the sawdust and the dog hair, make sure nothing sticks to the paint, and then we'll paint. Quick little update. Everything has been scuff sanded and all the holes are filled. Used 150 grit sandpaper on it, and I just did a really quick hand sand. Didn't work it all too much, so really depending on this chalk paint now. And here's what they look like freshly wiped. It's a little bit less white, but still got a nice scuff on it. I feel pretty good about this. I may eat those words later, but hopefully I don't. Now before I do paint, probably drill the holes for the new handles, because I can see where the old handles were, and that way I don't have to work as hard to find the center. So this didn't go all that well. You know what? I'm not very good at putting handles on. Let's get that out of the way right now. These first few that I did, I started getting better at the third one, but the first couple, they're a little bit too far apart. So I'm gonna have to do something about that, because you can't have a handle that falls off. Defeats the purpose. But I did get better. Look at that. Nice. Not wiggly. Okay, cool. That one's good to go. These ones, we're gonna have to fiddle with them a little bit. Maybe move the holes. I don't know. They can't stay like this. These dry, but I'll get them in and we'll see what it looks like with that dark wood. I think right now they look really kind of sad and bare, especially with the one little circle, but I think the handles will make a big difference. And yes, I could have taped off the keyholes, but I did not because I can't be bothered. Coating on top of everything because it is very matte. First impressions on chalk paint, because I've never used it. I like it. It's pretty good, and I think if this was going to be in a more high traffic area, I would put some kind of top coat on it, but this is going straight into that closet, so I'm just going to leave it as is. We're going to let this dry, and then I will put the handles back on, try to figure out which drawer goes where, because I didn't mark them, and so I don't know. I know the top one's the skinny one. And here's the finished product. Ignore literally everything else. I think it looks good. I think the handles helped immensely. I didn't even realize, though, the circle and the circle, it's a nice kind of like cohesion. And yeah, I do like the light against the dark. I think the paint turned out lighter than I expected it to. I kind of was envisioning something like the first color that I painted my base cabinets, but I like this. It's very neutral, kind of like my go-to. Now, the next thing is everything else. I'm trying to make this a space that I want to work in. There's a few other things that I want to do, requiring a computer and a desk. So I don't want to be in here because it's literally just a catch-all. I do have a few ideas. I think what I'm going to do is build like a platform that goes all the way across with drawers in it, and maybe a few drawers up here on this side. It can't go all the way because of the slope on the ceiling, but I think that'll help this to be level. She's not. She's not level at all. But if I build a platform, I can make it so that the top is level. And then I'll be able to make it pretty up here. Like, just highlight this. Make it a focal point. I don't know. Do something so it's not so dark. Finish the painting. I think I have all the materials I need to build some drawers. That'll be a different video. Thank you for watching. See you then.